Hi, I'm Chris. I'm 28 years old, and up until 6 months ago, I thought I had a pretty normal relationship with my dad. Sure, he could be difficult sometimes, but whose dad isn't? I never imagined he'd show me exactly who he really was the day my grandfather died. Grandpa Joe raised me more than my own father ever did. While Dad was busy climbing the corporate ladder and starting his new family with Rebecca, his second wife, Grandpa was teaching me to fish, helping me with homework, and showing up to every baseball game. When I graduated college, Dad sent a card. Grandpa drove 8 hours to be there. Your grandfather would be so proud of you, my mom said when I called to tell her about my new job at the architecture firm. You turned out just like him. I wish he could have seen the designs I'm working on, I told her. He always said I had an eye for it. He knew, sweetheart, he always knew. That was 3 years ago. Last week, Grandpa died peacefully in his sleep at 86. The funeral was small, just how he wanted it. Dad showed up late during the eulogy. Traffic, he muttered, sliding into the pew next to me and Rebecca. My half-brother Kyle, who's 22, sat on Rebecca's other side scrolling through his phone. After the service, Grandpa's lawyer, Mr. Henderson, pulled me aside. Chris, your grandfather left specific instructions about his estate, he said, adjusting his glasses. Can you come by my office tomorrow morning? There are some documents we need to go over. Of course, I said. Is everything okay? Everything's fine. Your grandfather was very thorough in his planning. He wanted to make sure you were taken care of. The next morning, I sat in Mr. Henderson's office as he slid a folder across the desk. Your grandfather left you everything, he said simply. The house in Vermont, his investment portfolio, the savings accounts. It comes to approximately $1.2 million. I couldn't breathe. Everything? He was very clear about his wishes. He wanted you to have it all. He wrote a letter that I'm supposed to give you. Mr. Henderson handed me an envelope with my name in Grandpa's shaky handwriting. I read it right there, tears streaming down my face. Grandpa wrote about how proud he was of me, how I reminded him of himself at my age, and how he knew I'd use the money wisely to build a good life. I called my mom first. She cried with me over the phone, telling me how Grandpa had talked about this for years, how he'd planned every detail. Then I called Dad. That was my first mistake. Hey, Dad, I just left the lawyer's office. Grandpa left me his estate. There was a pause. All of it? Yeah, he left me everything. Another pause, longer this time. We need to talk. Can you come by the house tonight? Something in his tone made my stomach drop, but I agreed. When I arrived that evening, Dad, Rebecca, and Kyle were waiting in the living room. It felt staged, like an intervention. Sit down, Chris, Dad said, gesturing to the chair across from them. What's going on? Dad leaned forward, his hands clasped. I've been thinking about your grandfather's estate. It's a lot of money. It is, I agreed cautiously. The thing is, Kyle is family too. Your brother. Don't you think it would be fair to split it with him? I stared at him, certain I'd misheard. What? Rebecca jumped in, her voice honey-sweet. What your father means is that families should share. Kyle has student loans, and he's trying to start his life too. Grandpa Joe left the money to me, I said slowly. He made that decision. Dad always played favorites, my father said, his voice hardening. It wasn't right that he spent all that time with you and barely knew Kyle. The least you could do is make it fair. Make it fair? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Kyle finally looked up from his phone. Come on, man. Half of 1.2 million is still a lot. You don't need all of it. This isn't about need, I said, standing up. This is about respect for Grandpa's wishes. Your grandfather was a bitter old man who never forgave me for the divorce, Dad said, also standing. He poisoned you against me. He didn't have to poison me against you, Dad. You did that yourself when you forgot my birthday 3 years in a row, when you missed my college graduation, when you— Don't be dramatic, Rebecca interrupted. We're asking you to do the right thing. I am doing the right thing. I'm honoring Grandpa's wishes. I headed for the door. Chris! Dad's voice stopped me. If you walk out that door without agreeing to share, you're choosing money over family. I turned to look at him. No, Dad. You're the one who made that choice the second you asked me to split my inheritance. The next morning, my phone rang at 7. It was my mom. Chris, your father called me last night, she said, and I could hear the anger in her voice. Tell me he didn't actually ask you to give half of Dad's money to Kyle. He did. He, Rebecca, and Kyle ambushed me about it. That son of a— She caught herself. Your grandfather specifically excluded your father from the will for a reason. He knew exactly what kind of person he was. Mom, Did Grandpa ever talk to you about why he left everything to me? She sighed. All the time, honey. After your father left us, Dad helped me keep you fed and clothed. He paid for your college. He said you were the son he wished he'd raised, instead of the one he got. He didn't want your father touching a penny of that money. That afternoon, I met my best friend Marcus at our usual coffee shop. Dude, your dad seriously asked you to split $1 million inheritance with your half-brother? Marcus shook his head. That's insane. It gets worse. Rebecca called me this morning and left a voicemail saying I was being selfish and that family comes first. Family comes first? Marcus laughed bitterly. Where was that energy when your dad forgot your birthday? When he didn't show up for your mom when she had surgery? Exactly what I said. What are you going to do? Nothing. The money's mine. Grandpa wanted me to have it. My phone buzzed. A text from Kyle. Dad says you're being a dick about the money. Real mature, bro. I showed Marcus, who grabbed my phone and started typing. What are you doing? Telling him off. Marcus handed the phone back. The message read, your dad chose his new family over me for 20 years. He doesn't get to demand my inheritance now. Stop texting me. That evening, my Aunt Linda, Grandpa's daughter, and my dad's sister called. Chris, honey, I heard what happened. I'm so sorry. You talked to Dad? He called me crying about how you're tearing the family apart over money. I told him he was full of it. Linda's voice was sharp. Dad told me years ago exactly what he was doing with his estate and why. Your father has no claim to that money, legal or moral. He's making me feel like I'm the bad guy here. That's what he does, sweetheart. He manipulates. He did it to your mom. He's doing it to Rebecca, and he'll do it to you if you let him. Dad saw right through him. That's why he protected you. Do you think I should just give them something to make this go away? Absolutely not. Linda's voice was fierce. The second you give them a dime, they'll know they can manipulate you. Stand your ground. Your grandfather wanted you to have that money because he knew you'd use it wisely. Honor that. The next day, Dad showed up at my apartment unannounced. We need to talk, he said, pushing past me into the living room. You could have called. Would you have answered? He didn't wait for a response. Look, I don't think you understand how hard things are for Kyle right now. He's got $60,000 in student loans. Rebecca and I are stretched thin. Then maybe you shouldn't have bought that new BMW last month. His face reddened. How dare you? How dare I? How dare you, Dad? You ignored me for 20 years and now you want me to fund Kyle's life? He's your brother. And you're my father, but that didn't seem to matter when I needed you. My voice was shaking now. Where were you when I couldn't afford textbooks, when Mom was working 2 jobs to keep us afloat? Grandpa was there, always. This money is his way of taking care of me one last time. You're being selfish. No, I'm being loyal. Something you know nothing about. Dad's expression hardened. Fine. If that's how you want to play it, don't come crying to me when you need family support. I haven't had your support in decades. I think I'll manage. He left, slamming the door so hard my neighbor knocked to ask if everything was okay. I called Mr. Henderson immediately. Mr. Henderson, is there any legal way my father can contest the will? Not successfully, he assured me. Your grandfather was of sound mind and the will is ironclad. But Chris, if you're concerned about family pressure, I recommend documenting everything. Keep records of all communication. I will, thank you. That night, Marcus came over with takeout and beer. So what's the plan? He asked. The plan is to keep what's mine and cut out the toxicity. Good. You deserve better than this. I know, I just wish it didn't have to be this way. Hey, you're not the one who made it this way. Your dad did that all by himself. 2 weeks later, Rebecca called from a number I didn't recognize. Chris, please, you have to talk to your father. He's not sleeping. This is tearing him apart. Then he should stop demanding my money. It's not about the money. It's about family. Really? Because he didn't mention family when he moved across the state and started a new one. He didn't mention family when he missed my high school graduation. So forgive me if I don't buy that line. She hung up on me. The next day, I got a text from an unknown number. This is Kyle. Dad told me not to contact you, but I think you should know he's planning something. Be careful. I showed Marcus immediately. Planning something? Like what? I don't know, but Kyle doesn't usually go against Dad. This must be serious. I found out what it was the following Monday when I arrived at work to find my dad waiting in the lobby. Chris, we need to talk, right now. I'm at work, Dad. This isn't appropriate. I don't care what's appropriate anymore. You've left me no choice. He raised his voice and people started staring. I'm your father, And I'm telling you that you need to do the right thing and share that inheritance. My boss, Jennifer, emerged from her office. Excuse me, sir, you're going to have to leave. This is between me and my son. This is a place of business. Please leave or I'll call security. Dad ignored her, stepping closer to me. You think you're better than us? You think that money makes you special? I think Grandpa's wishes make me the rightful heir, yes. Your precious grandpa was a judgmental old bastard who never gave me a chance. He gave you plenty of chances. You blew every single one. Dad's face turned purple. I raised you. No, you didn't. Grandpa raised me. Mom raised me. You were just a name on my birth certificate. He grabbed my arm, his grip tight enough to hurt. You ungrateful little... Sir, let him go now. Jennifer was on her phone. I'm calling the police. Marcus, who'd been listening from his desk nearby, stood up. Mr. Patterson, you need to leave now. Dad released my arm but shoved me backward. I stumbled into a desk. This isn't over, he hissed. You're going to regret this. Security arrived and escorted him out while he shouted about how I'd betrayed my family. Jennifer pulled me into her office. Chris, are you okay? Do you need medical attention? I'm fine. I'm so sorry about that. Don't apologize. That was assault. I think you should file a police report. He's my father. He's also an adult who just physically assaulted you at your workplace in front of witnesses. That's not okay. Marcus knocked on the door. Chris, I recorded the whole thing on my phone. You need to report this. I sat there shaking, looking at the red marks on my arm where Dad had grabbed me. Okay, I said finally. Okay, let's call the police. 2 officers arrived within 20 minutes. They took statements from me, Jennifer, Marcus, and 3 other witnesses. Mr. Patterson, based on these statements and the video evidence, we can arrest your father for assault and battery, the older officer said. Do you want to press charges? I thought about Grandpa, about how he'd always taught me to stand up for myself, about how he'd protected me his whole life, even after death. Yes, I want to press charges, the officer nodded. We'll go pick him up now. You'll need to come down to the station to make a formal statement. After they left, Marcus hugged me. You did the right thing, man. Then why do I feel so terrible? Because he's your dad and you're a good person. But good people don't let others abuse them, even family. That evening, Linda called. I heard what happened. The police contacted me as a character witness. Chris, I'm so proud of you for standing up for yourself. He grabbed me, Aunt Linda, at my workplace in front of everyone. I know, sweetheart. And now he's going to face consequences for it. Maybe for the first time in his life, someone's holding him accountable. Dad was arrested that evening. Rebecca called me, screaming, How could you do this to him? He's your father. This isn't about money, Rebecca. He assaulted me. He barely touched you. You're being dramatic. He left bruises on my arm. There were a dozen witnesses. This is on him. The next week, I met with the district attorney, Sarah Chen. Mr. Patterson, we have a strong case. Multiple witnesses, video evidence, and photographic evidence of your injuries. How do you want to proceed? I want him to face consequences, real ones. He's likely looking at probation, anger management classes, and a restraining order. Does that sound acceptable? Yes, I don't want him near me. The preliminary hearing was 2 weeks later. Dad's lawyer tried to paint me as vindictive. Isn't it true you refused to share your inheritance with your half-brother? That's correct. My grandfather left his estate to me. So you'd say there was already tension between you. There's been tension between us for 28 years. I rolled up my sleeve, showing the faded but still visible bruises. Does this look like a simple argument? The judge intervened. We have video evidence of the assault. Move on. Dad took the stand. Your Honor, I was upset. My son was disrespecting his grandfather's memory. Mr. Henderson stood. The deceased specifically excluded the defendant from his will and left explicit instructions that the inheritance was not to be shared. The judge wasn't sympathetic. Mr. Patterson, you had no right to assault your son at his workplace. I'm ordering probation, anger management, and a restraining order. You are to stay at least 500 feet away from your son. Dad exploded. This is ridiculous. He's my son. And you assaulted him. Bailiff, escort the defendant out. As they led him away, he screamed at me. You're dead to me. The feeling's mutual, I said quietly. After the hearing, Linda hugged me tight. Your grandfather would be so proud of you. A week later, Rebecca left a letter at my building. Chris, I'm begging you to drop the charges. Family should forgive. He's sorry. He's willing to forget about the inheritance if you'll drop the charges. I sent the letter to my lawyer and threw the original away. Marcus came over that night. What did the letter say? The usual, forgive and forget. And I threw it away. Some things don't deserve forgiveness. My mom called the next morning. Your dad wanted me to convince you to drop the charges. What'd you tell him? She laughed. I told him he should have thought about consequences before he assaulted our son. I love you, Mom. I love you too, sweetheart, and I'm proud of you. 6 months later, I'm using Grandpa's money exactly how he wanted. I bought a house and I'm planning to start my own architecture firm. I haven't spoken to Dad, Rebecca, or Kyle since the hearing. Linda and I have dinner every week. Marcus says I seem lighter, happier. Sometimes I still get angry that it had to be this way. But then I remember Grandpa's letter, his words about building a good life. That's exactly what I'm doing, and I don't regret a single decision. What would you do if a family member demanded you split your inheritance? Would you give in to keep the peace, or stand your ground like I did? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more real-life revenge stories. Thanks for watching.